I want you to think back to a moment in your life you didn't choose. Maybe it was the day you got laid off. Maybe it was a breakup you didn't see coming. Maybe it was when someone you trusted let you down. We've all been there. A moment we didn't ask for, a moment that broke something inside us. Now pause and ask yourself, what did you do next? Because that is the moment that defines everything. Not the moment of crisis itself, but the moment immediately after, when we either take ownership or we don't. Life is messy. It's unpredictable. It doesn't ask your permission before throwing change at you. And that's not just how life is. It's how it's supposed to be. The real question isn't whether you'll face difficulty. The real question is, what story do you choose to write with what you've been handed? There's a mindset that can change your life instantly, not someday, not eventually, but the moment you adopt it. It's the mindset of ownership over circumstance. Let me explain what that really means. We've been raised in systems that reward compliance. We're told that if we do the right things, life will reward us back. Get the degree, get the job, earn approval. But life doesn't play by the rules we imagine. And when things go wrong, our first instinct is to point outward. It's my boss. It's the economy. It's my upbringing. It's bad luck. Yes, those things matter. Your environment influences you, but it doesn't define you. What separates the fulfilled from the frustrated isn't what they've gone through. It's what they do with what they've gone through. Ownership is not denial. It's direction. It's saying, asterisk, this happened. I didn't choose it, but now it's mine to deal with. Asterisk, and that changes everything. Because when you take ownership, you stop being the victim of your story and become the author of it. I once met a man at a workshop, let's call him Carlos. Carlos had been through hell, childhood trauma, financial collapse, addiction, loss. When he stood to speak, you could feel the weight he carried, but his voice didn't shake. His hands didn't tremble. He spoke with a strange kind of peace and said something I'll never forget. Asterisk, I spent 20 years waiting for someone to save me. Then one day, I realized I was the only one coming. Asterisk, that was the date. Everything changed for him. Ownership is not a concept. It's a decision to respond instead of react, to lead your life instead of just living it. It doesn't mean you're to blame for everything that happens. It means you're responsible for how you rise from it. There's quiet power in that. When you stop assigning blame, you reclaim energy, and energy is the fuel of transformation. Think about it. How much time have we all wasted ruminating on asterisk? Why asterisk something happened instead of focusing on asterisk? What now asterisk? Ownership shifts you from explanation to execution. It says, asterisk, yes, that was unfair. Yes, I wish it were different. But I'm not waiting anymore. I'm building. I'm choosing. I'm moving forward. Asterisk, it's uncomfortable, yes. Because once you accept that you're in charge of your life, excuses disappear. But that's also where freedom begins. When you take ownership, it changes how you show up in relationships. You stop expecting others to complete you and start engaging from a place of wholeness. You set boundaries. You lead with integrity, not insecurity. In your career, ownership makes you proactive instead of reactive. Leaders aren't those with the most power. They're the ones who take the most responsibility. Even in your health, your mindset shifts. Discipline becomes internal alignment. This is my body, my mind, my energy. I will care for it, not because I have to, but because I choose to. That mindset moves mountains, but ownership isn't a one-time choice. It's not a motivational burst. It's a daily decision. Every morning you decide, will I hand my power over to circumstances, or will I reclaim it? Every day you choose ownership. We don't become powerful when we win. We become powerful when we refuse to give up in the face of things we cannot control. That builds character, peace, and a meaningful life. So the next time something goes wrong, and it will, pause, breathe, ask yourself, what would it look like to take full ownership of this moment, then do it, act. Lead, take the first step, because your life doesn't change when the world gets easier. It changes the moment you decide the world doesn't dictate who you are. That mindset of radical ownership can shift everything instantly. Asterisk, asterisk, stop chasing outcomes. Start loving the process, asterisk, asterisk. We live in a world obsessed with results. Likes, followers, titles, salaries, scores, promotions, outcomes. From childhood, we're taught to chase the finish line, win the trophy, get the grade. Later it becomes, get the house, get the car, get the position. Somewhere along the way, we start defining our worth by how far ahead, or behind, we are, but that obsession is exhausting and hollow. No matter how much we achieve, the feeling of not enough always returns. The goalpost keeps moving. There's another way to live, a mindset that doesn't wait for the end to feel proud, one that doesn't depend on applause or recognition. It's a mindset that flips the entire script. Asterisk, fall in love with the process. Asterisk. I remember meeting a young athlete, 22 years old, disciplined, focused, incredibly talented, but burned out. Not because he didn't love the sport, but because every game, every play, every move felt like a test, pass or fail. When I asked him what first made him fall in love with the game, he paused and smiled. Asterisk, the training. Asterisk, he said. Asterisk, I used to love the training, the smell of the gym, the sound of my shoes on the floor, the rhythm of getting better. Asterisk, that was what he had lost. That's what he needed to return to. When we measure our value by outcome, we become transactional with life. We show up only when there's a prize at the end, but not every effort gets rewarded immediately. Not every good decision leads to instant validation, yet every effort contributes to who we're becoming. The process is where transformation happens. The process is where identity is built. Outcomes are snapshots. The process is the story. Consider the violinist who practiced alone in a basement for 10 years, not for fame, not for an audience, but because the practice itself made her feel alive. The outcome wasn't guaranteed, but the process shaped her. We need to stop asking asterisk, what will I get if I do this, asterisk, and start asking asterisk, who will I become if I keep doing this, asterisk. That simple shift changes everything. When you fall in love with the process, you're no longer fragile. You don't quit when recognition is delayed because you're not working for a moment. You're working for meaning. The people who consistently grow, improve, and lead have one thing in common. They find joy in the effort itself. The result is a bonus. The work is where they come alive. Yes, it's countercultural. Culture says don't waste time unless it guarantees success. But that kills passion, curiosity, and mastery. Meaningful achievements often take years to bloom. If we chase only the fruit, we never commit to planting seeds. There's something sacred in showing up every day even when no one is watching. Doing the right thing because it's right. The quiet strength of devotion. Those who stay the course push through boredom, difficulty, and delayed reward. They aren't superhuman. They simply fall in love with the work. Results matter, but they're only part of the picture. The bigger part is who you become in pursuit of them. Most people fail not because they aren't talented, but because they don't commit long enough to the process that would unlock that talent. When you shift your mindset from outcome to process, your relationship with growth changes. Setbacks become lessons, not losses. Each day becomes a training ground. Trust the slow burn. Over time, results come. Not because you chased them, but because you committed to the work. So next time you ask yourself, asterisk, what's the point if it's not working yet? Asterisk, remember, this moment asterisk is asterisk the point. This repetition, this effort, this focus, that's where greatness is born. Asterisk, asterisk, identity before outcome become it now, asterisk, asterisk. There's a subtle trap we fall into. We wait for one day I'll be confident, one day I'll feel ready, one day I'll become who I'm meant to be. But there is no one day, there is only now. The people we admire don't wait for transformation, they act asterisk from it asterisk before it arrives. Most people think action creates identity, but identity also creates action. It's a loop, and it works both ways. I met a man who ran his first marathon. He wasn't a professional athlete. He wasn't particularly fit when he started. He was an accountant, a father, a regular guy. I asked him what the hardest part was. Not race day. Not the long runs, not the blisters, asterisk, convincing myself I was a runner before I'd ever run a mile. Asterisk, he said. That was the moment everything changed. He became the identity asterisk before asterisk the outcome, and it worked. If you want to write a book, don't wait until it's published to call yourself a writer. Start writing. Structure your day like a writer. Protect your creative time. That identity shift drives habits that create outcomes. Most people fail because they try to change what they do without changing who they believe they are. They say, asterisk, I'm trying to get fit, asterisk instead of, asterisk, I'm someone who values health, asterisk, identity shapes behavior. Language matters, self-talk matters. I worked with a leader who felt like an imposter after a promotion. He kept saying, asterisk, I'm not a real leader. Asterisk, he acted cautiously, avoided tough conversations. We didn't focus on his skills. We focused on identity. He wrote a letter to himself, not from the version who felt unsure, but from the version who had grown into the leadership role he desired. He read that letter every morning. Slowly, he began leading with confidence, and others noticed. Identity isn't pretending. It's aligning with who you choose to become. You don't become successful and then feel worthy. You decide you are worthy. That identity fuels actions that lead to success. This requires courage. When you step into a new identity, the world may not catch up immediately. People may still see the old version. That's okay. You're doing it for who you're becoming, not for them. It's about integrity, not moral, but structural. Alignment between your thoughts, words, and actions. Life feels lighter. You don't waste energy pretending. You're not chasing. You're expressing. So ask yourself, who do I want to become? Not the job title, not the bank balance, but the kind of person. Start behaving like that person today, before accolades, evidence, or outcome. Eat like someone who loves their body. Work like someone who takes pride in excellence. Speak like someone who values truth. Show up like someone who already believes they belong. Over time, people respond to who you are, not who you were. Asterisk, asterisk, be curious, not critical change how you learn asterisk, asterisk. When something goes wrong, most people default to judgment, analyzing, criticizing, picking apart. It gives the illusion of control, asterisk. If I can blame someone, I can make sense of it, asterisk, but judgment doesn't help us grow. Curiosity does. I once watched a young leader give a presentation that didn't land. Date is solid, preparation solid. But the room didn't respond. He said, asterisk, I blew it. I knew I wasn't good enough. Asterisk I asked, asterisk. What if instead of asking, what did I do wrong, you asked, what could I learn from this? Asterisk he paused, breathed. And something shifted, not because he had all the answers, but because he created space to find them. Curiosity opens doors. Judgment closes them. Criticism creates fear. Curiosity sparks learning. Curiosity turns failure into feedback, discomfort into discovery. This works in life too. Children ask questions endlessly, not to critique but to understand. That's why they grow so fast. Somewhere along the way, we stop asking questions, trading curiosity for certainty. Want to change your life immediately? Be curious again about yourself, others, the world. When you mess up, ask, asterisk, what caused that decision? Asterisk, when someone lets you down, ask, asterisk, what might they be struggling with? Asterisk, when you feel stuck, ask, asterisk, what's another way to see this? Asterisk, curiosity isn't soft, it takes humility, patience, and courage, but it transforms relationships, growth, and self-worth. Asterisk, asterisk, living by values, not moods stay anchored, asterisk, asterisk, motivation doesn't always show up. Some mornings, your goals feel heavy. If your life is built on how you feel, you'll always chase consistency, but never find it. There's a mindset that flips this. Live by values, not moods. Values are your compass. Moods are passing weather. Commitments, not feelings, guide your actions. I met a founder who said, asterisk, I don't trust my feelings in the morning. I trust my commitments from the night before. Asterisk, when you live by values, you act even when it's hard, boring, or inconvenient. You show up because it's right, not because it feels good. You become dependable, you become anchored. This applies inward too. Your self-talk matters. If your value is kindness, it applies even when you're disappointed in yourself. Courage, it shows up even when you're scared. Integrity is alignment, not perfection. Values create stability. They protect you in chaos. Teams who thrive during disruption aren't the ones with the best systems, they're the ones anchored in values, practiced consistently. Bring this back to your life. What are your values? Not the ones that sound good, but the ones you want your future self to thank you for. Write them down, one sentence each, then live them daily. Asterisk growth. Keep learning, even when no one is grading you. Asterisk courage. Speak the truth, even when your voice shakes. Asterisk integrity. Follow through, even when inconvenient. Asterisk compassion. Stay kind, even when frustrated. Transformation comes not from inspiration, but from alignment between what you believe and what you do. People who change the world don't feel heroic every day. They feel doubt, fear, exhaustion, but they keep showing up. Your life isn't built on how you feel. It's built on who you choose to be, and you can choose that right now without changing your job, title, or surroundings. Choose a mindset where values win over moods, direction beats distraction, and who you are is more important than how you feel. Stop negotiating your actions with your emotions. Align them with your values, and your life changes immediately.